The Neverrealm is an icy place in the world of Ninjago, and today I'll be building all of the ninjas' adventures there from Season 1, including their mechs, allies, locations, and villains. Will this be a success or a failure, as the ninja go up against an enemy who might just be one of their own? Enough said, let's go. So this is actually the second part of Season 11, where the ninja are banished to the Neverrealm after the events of the first half of the season, which was the fire chapter. And now, with no way back, the ninja have to navigate the icy landscape to find a warm place before they freeze completely. So to match the snowy terrain, let's use this white piece of paper, which we can build everything on top of. Here I have my custom ninja lineup of the Season 11, and now we can start building our first location. So eventually the ninja are rescued and come across this ice village, which is the only place with living inhabitants. So first, to build one of the houses of this village, we're going to need some brown bricks because most of the houses are made of wood. I mean, it looks grey in the show, but I'm pretty sure it's wood, so let's use brown. Now, the house itself actually does look a bit boring, so I'm going to need to take some inspiration. And I've actually got this little wooden section from my custom building I'm making, and I think I'll follow the design of this. Now, I am running low on brown pieces, so I'm going to need to use a white base and then build up as much brown texture as I can on top. This technique is pretty neat, and now we can add some depth to the build using some snot techniques to add some plates to cover up the side. Now let's add a roof which is slightly angled and has some snow on it, and then we can use this clip to angle the roof down, and we have a pretty legit looking snow house which the ninja can use to keep warm and safe from the harshness of the elements outside. Oh yeah, and also in this season, Kai loses his fire power, so he spends a lot of time reflecting on life. Okay, but the ninja can't rest for long because they soon learn about the Ice Emperor, an evil tyrant over the Neverrealm who caused an eternal winter and actually froze a lot of civilizations ice solid. They're worried that the Ice Emperor is going to attack their village next, so Lloyd has to set out on a journey to find him, while the rest stay behind in the village to protect it. Now, I've given Lloyd a backpack to prepare him for his journey, but his head is in a really weird angle. Now, Lloyd has to be fully prepared and at the top of his game for this, so I'll give him this sack instead. And when he wears it, he can actually fit a sword behind his back if you force the sword piece behind it and sandwich it in between the two pieces. Now Lloyd can carry all the supplies he needs and he's ready to set out on his journey until he meets some complications. These are the Ice Emperor's soldiers, also known as the Blizzard Warriors, and they've been given ice powers from the Ice Emperor after he took over the previous dynasty. They're really intimidating actually, and I quite like the minifigures, believe it or not, because they're really detailed, have dual molded accessories, and shiny printing on their faces. They even have elemental ice powers. Lloyd almost gets frozen a few times, and eventually after much struggle he is able to overcome them and continue on his journey. The next part of the story is a bit complicated, but eventually Lloyd discovers in the Neverrealm one of the ninja mechs which was banished along with them. He had lost it at first, but it would help Lloyd greatly in his journey, so he decided to power it up and fix it. The mech was in great condition, so it would be really useful for traversing long distances and fighting off enemies. Yeah, there's this really long sequence in the show where Lloyd fights this giant bird who's trying to eat him. But it's one of the more meaningful ways that a mech was used in the show. Now, they did make a set for this, and it's a Titan mech, the first of its kind actually. I don't have that many pieces to spare, so I'm gonna build it at a smaller scale, matching the Evo mechs. Here we have the pieces from Zane's Evo mech, and I'm going to reuse them to build Lloyd's mech at a mini scale. So here we're going to start using some brackets to build up the main body of the mech, and this was really fun because we needed to be able to fit a minifigure inside still. I was also able to use a lot of interesting techniques with the small pieces to build up the details around the mech that were in the original. We can build up the head now, and I use this interesting technique to put the 1x3 right in front of the 1x2 clip, as well as the same 1x2 gold piece from the original. Now Lloyd's mech uses this really nice sand green color, which is pretty rare, so I'm going to take them from my Cole's Earth Driller set, incorporate them wherever I can. We can add shoulder pads, the arms, a rotating waist section with the legs, the wings at the back, and finally our mech is done. Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah, subscribe please. Much appreciated. And in the end, we have this really nice looking mech at an Evo scale, which didn't take much pieces, can still fit a minifigure, has a rotating waist section using some clever Technic pins. And it's really cool how this all turned out because it's at the same scale as an Evo mech and I really like it. In fact, because you're building at such a small scale, you can make better use of your own creativity and imagination to use the small pieces to create the details that you need on the original mech. It's a really good and affordable challenge that I'd highly recommend that you try it yourself. Okay, but let's move on to the next build, which is the Ice Emperor's castle. So of course this emperor needs to have a castle of his own with those giant ice spikes. And we're going to start off with a blue base plate. Now I'm going to use this technique for the stairs at the front. Use some math to layer these pieces on top of each other sideways. And we get this nice and thin gradual staircase. But now we can continue to build up the rest of the foundations of the palace. We can hide Zane's mask in there because he's missing. Next I'll use these rounded car pieces to add some more texture to the sides of the builds. We can build up the walls and add a jail cell which every Ninjago set needs. You can continue building up on top to cover up the empty space with the Ice Emperor's throne, as well as this oriental gate at the back, which I copied directly from the TV show. You can go check it out yourself. And we can finish off the staircases with this hinged piece and this technique that I used in my Seabound temple in the previous video. Underneath the stairs, we can hide the fruit of the Traveler's Tree, which the ninja eventually used to travel back to their own world. But wait, we're still not done because we still need to finish the rest of the palace and the throne room. So we can use these jagged blue pieces for some ice spikes coming out of the Emperor's throne room. And now we can build the Emperor himself. So it actually turns out that this is Zane, the missing ninja that they've been looking for. He looks really menacing. He looks really cool because he's holding this really nice ice staff. Eventually, I came up with this figure design. It makes use of a lot of interesting techniques, especially at the top. We start off with a regular Zane suit, some ice armor, a half mask. For the samurai helmet, we had some ski goggle masks and a powered up blue translucent piece to kind of add to the ice effect. And then steal a lightsaber from Luke Skywalker to make a cool looking ice staff. The Ice Emperor, with this ice blade at the end, and it looks pretty good. It works really well. For the Ninja Travel Home, I do need to remove those white ski goggles which look really out of place and really goofy. Let's just add some finishing touches to our build, like these ice crystal lamps that line the palace. So the sets from this wave use this maroon color as the color of the ice army. We can add these pillars of stone which are in the show itself, and I think with that our ice palace is done. But we're still not done with this video because we need to make one last ninja ally, which is this wolf that Lloyd meets, but he eventually finds out that she's actually a human. It's complicated. Her name is Akita, but I don't have time to explain it here for you right now. Go watch the show if you want to. But we do need to build her because she's a crucial ally in the season. Actually out to get revenge on the Ice Emperor after he freezes her entire family, her entire village solid. The interesting protagonist that makes use of the season. So we can use Griffin Turner's body, which is red and white. We can add a cape, which Akita wears. Or use this headpiece from a CMF figure that has white and red face paint, which I think suits Akita's color scheme perfectly. With sword in hand, she's now ready to take on the Ice Emperor along with Lloyd on his journey. She's one of the fan favorite protagonists, and it's pretty cool because she has interesting motivations. She and Lloyd do eventually get to the palace, but interesting stuff happens there. You should check out the show if you want to. But now, let's check out what we've built in today's video. And that's it, we've completed the Ice chapter from Ninjago Season 11 with 3 amazing builds and a ton of custom figures. This concludes Build Ninja Season 3. Go submit to the monthly Build Ninja Showcase and see you next time. Subscribe.